Recording. So tonight I want to go over just a few more of the form editing tool options. So we went over the basics of how to use just a few of the different options, and I want to show you a few other things. So as with, start with you open up the control or the form editing space by clicking Form Edit, and that changes up your toolbar to a bunch of different other stuff. So what we did last class is we played around with like deleting elements off of a sphere. We played with little bits of some planes, but we didn't really get to anything else other than then going to working with like editing forms, talking about symmetry, and showing different display modes. Well, what if you want to free sculpt some other things? Things like, and those of you that made handles for your the kitchen knives, whatever you made there. I want to show you one of the other things you could do with this. Now, if you click the Create bar in the drop down, yeah, we got all the standard ones. We got the pipe cylinder, or we got box, plane, cylinder, sphere, torus, donut, quad ball, which is a different type of sphere. It gets broken up more like a soccer ball rather than a globe. And then there's pipe, which is an awesome tool. It works just like the pipe tool in standard construction, or in the standard create area, following rails. Only this one you can then really start to warp the surface and such. So if you wanted to make stuff that is a bit more organic rather than just like a direct architectural pipe frame, you could do with that. But there's also a few of our standard tools. There's extrude, there's revolve, there's sweep, which is like a pipe, only sweep is a combination of loft and pipe, whereas loft is creating that or generating that surface between two end profiles, and pipe, you have a standard profile and you're defining the path. Sweep is you can create a profile, and that distinct profile then gets to go along a path. They're very similar, but they have distinct uses. And there's also revolve. Now, why would you use these versions rather than our more standard ones based off of sketches and such, which these will still be based off of sketches? This is because you can then go and edit these forms, because these are not like the standard bodies we've been using. They are still developed as bodies. It's just that, again, I used the word T-splines last class. That's what these are created from. These are created from instead of a fit point spline, like we talk about in sketching, these are T-splines. These are based off of vertices, and it's a completely different way of working. But the main thing you need to know about them is that exactly what we've already been playing with. You pull on a vertex or so, and it pulls the whole form around. That's what basically these do. So I want to show you a couple of different ways this works now. What we've played with last class is a plane, and creating like and going about making like your spoon or fork or something like that, and different ways you can manipulate that. Well, any form, and I'll just throw this down here, any form in here, we'll make a general size, is made up of a multitude of faces. All these different segments, these are all different faces. So what is the other tool? Face. You can create a free form, I'll just call it a sketch, made from assembling faces. And over here you have different versions. You have a simple mode, edge mode, chain mode. We'll stick with simple for now. You have choices in sides. Are these 4 sides like here, or is it multiple sides? You can make up your own. First, let me show you what just 4 sides does. Start of the main plane there. So what we're going to do is I can just free sketch something. Now, ideally, if I had like the image of the spoon down, this would work really well, but I'll just free sculpt it for now. And number of sides, the first one, you're going to create 4. Okay. You can snap back to each one of these, always connecting back. Now you don't want to do this, so you'd snap it back to there, connect another, connect another. Do still want to connect that all. See if I confuse the heck out of it. But when I hit OK, it's going to smooth this because this is what the sculpt surface does. You're trying to make smooth surfaces. I hit OK, it rounds it out. Like, okay, cool. Why would I do that? Well, you can think of this as a template as you need, or like if it's a more of a flat profile pattern, whatever you want to work with. If you've done it, again, if anybody's done any sewing work, think of this. All right, this is the pattern side laid flat. Well, I want to add dimension to it. This is the cool part. Go to extrude, and I can select individual faces, or I can just select the whole damn thing. So I'll just select, oops. I don't want just the one. Let me kill that selection. I'll just select everything. Just like in the smooth form, why does it create, instead of a rectangular box, it creates this kind of rounded balloon shape. Same thing with the extrude here. Oops. Let me go back to, there we are. And it's going that direction for some reason. Some reason I went up and it went upside down. There we are. Now it creates this dome-like form. I can keep going upwards. What's a slider for? I can make multiple faces on that extrusion. If I want more, if I want it to have a more angular side, add 1 or 2, add more if I want to keep playing with that. If I want those sides to be really straight up and down and the top gets rounded, there you go. Or again, you can just go back to 1 and it rounds it right from the get-go. Well, what's the point of this? This is great for making like general shapes, but rather than it having to start from a single box or pre-made form, cylinder, sphere, square, or a quad ball, you can make a profile and then it will automatically round it out. Let me hit OK. And just so you know, if you wanted, this is only making half, and it's also making it hollow. So this would be great for making like a hollow shell object. So if you want, some of the examples in the panel, you can always go back and open up your training examples and such like that. I know I haven't shown you this before because we haven't really needed it. There's a bunch of different examples in there, design examples. That's what I was going to say, utility knife, something to that effect. But this you can make hollow forms with this. Really cool. Or you can select two-side or symmetric, just like the other extrusion tools. And if I make it symmetric, it's going to do the same thing. Oh, because I was doing it the wrong way. Why is it not working now? Yeah, that figures. Huh. Cool. Don't know why it's doing that. Flip that back over. All right. Well, I guess we'll just ignore that for now. So do that. Hit OK. Let it finish calculating. Now it is a hollow form. I could thicken this form. And just like before, I could thicken it inward. So if I wanted this outer edge to be the absolute size I need, and I need it small, or I need it to go inward, or you can go outward, and it makes it thicker out there. Again, you could do sharp if you really want it angular. Soft smooths it out. No edge is if you want to actually construct the edge yourself, but I'll just do soft. Hit OK. So now this is a thickened item. And just so you can see, when I used soft, you see the edge here, it's kind of difficult to make out, but it rounded that out. So if I want to go back, Control Z or Command Z, repeat thicken. If I make that thicken type sharp, now it's more of like a shell. See, the bottom edge is angular and it's more of a shell. So the benefit there would be if I need that to just be a simple form, although now it kind of looks like a mouse form. All right, T-spliner. Oh yeah, I saw that over there. That's okay. I'll just ignore that for now. Ugh, fine. It's when I made this corner section here. All right, where's the repair? Well, might as well show you all this now. There is a repair body tool. Select this, and if you do have issues there, it will star that. Like, okay, cool. Now what? I can try deleting it. It's not really going to do much. Sorry, this is right behind me here. You can just select auto repair, and it will snap that out. So, Aaron, when we were talking about your spoon, this might work on that. I'm not sure if it will or not, but it might work on that.
All right, we'll have to try it.
Yeah. So it's going to give me a bunch of errors just because I was kind of afraid it was going to do that. Error star. Yep, plenty of T-point problems. Well, all right. Well, we'll see if that fixed it. There we go. Okay, so what it ended up doing is the conflict was because I had actually double backed on a few of the things. So what it ended up doing is it subdivided that section to just fix some errors. And what the error was is that it had multiple lines intersecting over one another. So when it extruded outward and made this dome form, and then we started playing with it, or I started playing with it, like the thicken tool, those intersecting lines, while not initially a problem, become a problem when they start getting moved around, and it becomes basically a calculating error. So anyway, so I finished that form, super duper. It's a hollow form. I can edit this again. Now I can play with this. Now, if I wanted to go in and add say, add a sketch, I'll do this underneath. I'll add like a couple of circles. Maybe I want in here like some vent holes or something to that effect. Whatever. I'm just throwing some stuff down. Those sketches are down there. And extrude both of those. Cut through, or again, I can select my extent to object, select that surface. Now, if I went back and edited that form and made this taller by using the extent to extrude to that surface, it's always going to go straight through that. So now I can start playing with that stuff. I can start adding holes, adding all of the stuff that we have been learning all semester. You can add those operations to this now. Or if I wanted this to be instead of just a single hollow form, maybe I want this actually to be a encapsulated thing. I can now use the mirror tool, select the item. Mirror plane is simply, it brings up the origin point. I select the bottom plane. Now it will mirror that. If I want it to already be joined, there we go. Or maybe I want to do different things to it. I want to move it around. I want to go back and edit one side, not the other. Just do new body. There we are. It's going to calculate. Because now, cool. now that's albeit kind of like a weird fish thing going. And I don't want to double check the whole thingy. Let me open up bodies. That one. And where's my edit form? I guess it's not going to let me. Well, that's awesome. Well, that's that one. Huh. Well, that's strange. It's not allowing me to, oh, because it's a mirror, so it's obviously it's going to be a mirror. So the other way to work is if you wanted it to be two different sides, you would probably need to, when you mirror it, let me go back and edit this feature. New Jordan. Huh. It's not letting me deselect it. So I guess you'd have to just copy and paste it and reverse it. That would be a different way of working with it. I don't understand why it's not doing that. So anyhow, that's how you would basically make a form out of the face tool. Super cool thing. Edit that out. So different area would be, now what if I wanted to just start like freeform sculpting stuff? I can show you some of the different ones like pipe tool, anything like that. Any of these are going to be, it depends on what you are trying to create with this. So your extrude, revolve, sweep, and loft, those all function the same way. You just have to have profiles already. Pardon me. But you can base that off of different operations. So if I had, so you have to have a profile already created. So if that were not the sketches here, those are your basic ones. You can still create stuff like that, but it's not really going to let you work unless you have some of the areas already created, like a path or something like that. Now I can just create this this revolve based off of an axis. Now it just makes a big torus because that was just a circular profile. If I'd made this differently, meaning like, you know, literally making a better profile, this would be more involved. Again, you could make this either with fewer iterations, meaning fewer faces, or like before, and that's just twisting the thing around, you don't have to do a full angle. Remember, you can create this partially. A lot more faces, a lot less. If I want this by angle, I could make it by, I don't know, 75. Now you have part of one that you can then manipulate. So if I have all these, now if I wanted to edit this form, I could, let's just select, oops. Let's just grab a few things here. Now I could scale this kind of thing up, and I could start warping all of this in multiple directions. And this is where all of those areas of, okay, that one's a little extreme. This is where the areas of modification such come in, unlike just your basic sweep and revolve and such like that. Here you can edit these shapes. Here you can edit these surfaces if you want to create this as a more involved form. So whereas before you were constrained by simply the starting profile, here you can add to that. So if I wanted to make this into like a handle or so, I could. And again, remember, you can extrude off of this and such too. So if I want like a couple of, that's not what I wanted. Oh, that's why. A couple of the faces. I could, if I want to extrude off of that, remember, just select the area I want to go. And if I want to pull it, if I want to pull just one direction, no, or up, not the one I want, Control Z. If I want to just freeform that, I can pull it with the square. But if I want to extrude on the fly, I press and hold the Alt key, and then grab that, and it creates a form edit extrusion. I can keep doing that. Each time I'm releasing both the mouse button and Alt, and then press Alt again, extrude out. I can use the scale slider, bring that down. What I'm doing with this, I have no idea. But that's what you can do. If you wanted to open this up, I could delete that face and just hit OK first. Those are still selected. Hit OK. Now that opens that all up. One of the other tools that you can use is if this starts getting really wonky on you, like, all right, I was playing with this, it started getting kind of messed up here. Modify, I recommend that you just go down the list and start playing with these, because we just simply don't have time to go through everything. One of the cool ones is Cylindrify. So what this does is it takes multiple faces and smooths out the geometry. So if I select this, I can select any number of these faces, and again, it's working off of just faces. So since I want all of these, I'll select that. It just smooths it out. So if I had this all kind of wonky and I needed this to be more like a pipe, I could do that, and it alters it for me. Now, what I can do, edit this form. Let me select just the edge. Select that whole thing. Now, what I can do is do an extrusion, Alt, press and hold, and drag that out. Now I'm pulling it as more like a cylinder. Pretty cool. So at this point, I could start creating this as like a freeform handle or exhaust pipe, breather tube, whatever. This could just be a general frame. All kinds of neat stuff with that one. So those are just some of the oddball stuff you can do. Obviously, you start getting into this a lot more. You can then create entire forms out of this. If I select this whole thing, oh no, that's me. I'd cancel. I didn't want to mirror that. That's internal symmetry. Although again, you start editing this, maybe you decide, you know what? I want to make sure this stays symmetrical. Remember, you can add symmetry to this. So if I select symmetry, this is internal mirrored symmetry. Depending on which planes you select or faces you select, it's going to create a symmetrical line on this. Now, obviously, with something like this, you want to select across the center here. So I select one. Let me zoom in so you can see it. I select the other. Now this green line appears. Now it is bisecting the whole thing based off of that symmetry that it automatically created. So now if I alter anything, now if I just grab like one face and move it, so if I let's edit this, and if I drag this one outward, now it's going to do the same to the other side. Convenient. One of the other things I want to make sure to go over is, so far we've just been playing with what is there. Well, what if I want to add more to this? You can go to Modify and Insert Edge. This is where if you say, like, all right, I'm working with this is great, but I need to like subdivide this section up, or, all right, you know what? I was smoothing this out or expanding some areas. I really want to add some more sections. So what you could do is, and this works off of just the edge lines, select that. And what I did is I double click the whole thing. So I'll show you again. I zoom in, I select one, and it's adding a subdivision, or it's adding subdivision on either side of just that one segment. If I deselect that, now double click that line, it does the whole ring, and I can add that. Now I'm adding more segments in. Now, unfortunately, you can only alter their distance from center. I can't add more right now, but you can always go back and add more later on your own. Now I have even more segments to play with. So if I were to say extrude, now if I wanted to make this like a ridge, meaning, let me add a couple more and I'll show you what I mean. Now I'm going to add to over here. Yeah, sure, that works. Oops. I didn't double click that. There we go. Hooray. All right, now if I go to alter this, I just want to do it by, yeah, we'll do it by lines. And I'm just going to zoom in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select every other set of lines. So, and you can also do it by double clicking. I'm holding shift, double click, selects the whole ring. Again, oops, again. Now, if I were to scale these using the scale feature, or actually that scales it in one direction only. Remember, you have your multiple scales. These scale things in single directions. If I go to the center point and hover over that, you see that those three little arrows appear over it. That means it's going to uniform scale in all directions. So let me zoom back out and I'll show you what's going to happen. Click and hold that and drag that either in or out. And now I can create this kind of truncated form. Problem is it's doing it in all directions. So that's actually not as ideal. What I want, just for example, I want to grab the center here. And this is just remember the bend around your square control set here. That's your scale button. Slide that inward. Now it's only working in one direction. Of course, you don't go too far. It goes real wonky on you. But now I can create this kind of truncated surface with these multiple ridges and such. So this is what I mean by it. It's difficult to show you too many examples without having a defined example to actually walk through. So what I want to do is kind of leave it there. I'm going to show you a few more examples of different weird things you can do with this. But for next class, for our final class, what I want to do is go through everybody's ideas and use those as some models. Now, I have a few things I can show you real quick just to play with, but I just want to show you, or I want to be able to go over with everybody what some ideas could be, where you want to work with some stuff, what you might want to go over. So before I get to some of the examples, does anyone have any ideas they just want to throw out and see if there is something I can help answer for you, whether or not it's an idea you want to approach or not? And that's cool if nobody really has anything at the moment.
I think I'm just going to cop out and go for the handy hook.
That's fair too. Is there anything else anybody wants to try to, or for me to try to go over or such? Okay, cool.
I do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
I know you were kind of going over it earlier. Is there like anything in particular you could show us for that you would recommend that we do, or?
For what?
The handy hook, to cover all the bases, because it sort of seems like such a simplistic idea to reach all of the bases for the project.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So to address that, I'm going to start a different video. So I'm going to stop this recording. So we're going to go over this, or we're going to go over some other stuff next class with freeform sculpting, but I want to use the rest of class for another thing. So we will catch up with that another time.